again with another video for y'all in our college finesse prep series. Today we are talking about study abroad. Today I wanted to talk about study abroad programs because I was just thinking back on my college experience altogether, and one of the things I really did enjoy was my study abroad program. Now, for those of you who don't know, study abroad is basically a program where you go to another country and you take courses there. So usually, from my experience, it is professors from your home university that also travel to this other country, and they host a class. These classes are just like the classes that you would have at a regular university. However, what they do incorporate may be like sightseeing as a part of your study abroad experience. Like, okay, so this is a literature class, and we're talking about Shakespeare, and let's say the study abroad was in London, which was my study abroad. We actually did things that incorporated Shakespeare into the class. So there was a Hamlet play. There were things that we did as far as just absorbing the culture of where we were into the class that we had. So if you are curious about study abroad programs, we're going to talk about the best types of study abroads to do, what you can do study abroads for. We're going to talk about the difference between study away and study abroad. And I'm also going to tell you guys a little bit about my experience with my study abroad program. And then I will definitely just give you guys a few tips on if you should do a study abroad, if you feel that that's right for you, and finding an appropriate study abroad program. Study away programs. Study away programs are basically where you go to another state. You don't really go that far, or you go somewhere that's immediately accessible by like boat or something like that. I did a study abroad program, and it was a part of my literature courses. So I had a conversation with my guidance counselor, basically saying like, hey, I'm interested in study abroad. You know, what is it? I've heard friends say like, oh, I went over here, it was so lit, I had such a good time. So I definitely had a conversation with my college counselor to let her know that I was interested. And the good thing was that there was a study abroad fair that was coming up. So a study abroad fair at Michigan State basically is this room that they have like little, you know, science fair project type boards that are set up, and they talk about different study abroad programs. Now, I think at Michigan State, they have about over 300 different study abroad programs on almost every continent that you can think of, that touch on a lot of different countries, a lot of different cultures, incorporate a lot of different things. If you're thinking about study abroad or you're curious about study abroad, one, definitely see if there are any study abroad fairs that your school is planning to host. And then also, two, look into what courses you need as far as your degree completion is concerned that would fit into you having a study abroad program. As an English major, I was required to have a certain number of core classes and then a certain number of electives that were specific to my degree program. And within that, and knowing that I wanted to go to a study abroad program, my college advisor, you know, she told me, okay, these are the requirements that you have left to fill out. And these are some of the courses that are being offered for study abroad in the upcoming summers, in the upcoming semesters, both fall and spring. It really just would depend on what you were looking for. So I knew that off rip. I'm like, I want to do a study abroad during the summertime. Like, that would be so lit. Like, I have a regular school schedule during the fall and the spring. I would have time to stack my money. And then I would be able to spend my summer in another country, come back, chill, and then go to class again in the fall. That was the perfect setup for me, so I knew that I wanted to do something in the summer. With that knowledge, once I went to the study abroad fair, I was able to see what courses were being offered, and having had that conversation with my college advisor previously, I knew the type of courses that I needed to look for. So definitely keep in contact with your college advisor. And I didn't talk to like somebody in a general college advisor. I went to the English department because, for those of you who don't know, I have a bachelor's degree in English. So I went to the English department and I had a conversation with the upperclassman advisor for that department, because I knew that I wasn't changing my major. So she was able to give me a lot of resources, and then by the time I went to the study abroad fair, I was able to have a little idea of which professors I wanted to take classes with. Moving forward in that process, I actually had an English class with a professor that I really enjoyed. Her name was Dr. T. Shout out to her. She was thebomb.com. And I found out that she was hosting a study abroad in London over the summer that I wanted to go. So I'm like, look, Dr. T having a class over there, oh, I'm there. It don't matter what it is, because I knew that all of the courses that she taught would fit into my degree program for me actually getting a degree in what I wanted it in. So she was definitely a resource. I was able to talk to her and just let her know, like, hey, you know, what classes are you doing? And then what I did was I signed up for her class online. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. In preparing to go on a study abroad, you have to apply to the program first. This is, and remember, my experience is only with Michigan State. You have to apply to the study abroad program first, and there was a $100 application fee, which is nothing. But I also found out that I got financial aid for study abroad, so I was able to talk to my financial aid advisor. Shout out to Ann Graves. Shout out to Charles. They were the bomb. I was able to reach out to them and figure out, okay, what scholarships can I get to pay for this? Because I don't got the money for it, but I definitely want to go. I want to have that experience. I've never been overseas before. Definitely hit up the financial aid office, and my financial aid took care of my application fee, which was $100. Then after that, after you're accepted into the study abroad program, then you can go in, I think, and add the classes for your study abroad. And I think there were like maybe 2 or 3 classes that were offered. So it was like a full course schedule, like maybe 6 to 12 credits or something like that. I applied to the program. I got in. Just, you know, steps to get ready to go. When you're looking into a study abroad program, like I said, 1, you definitely want to make sure that the courses that you're taking, they fit into your degree requirements. 2, you want to check the financial aid office to make sure that there are scholarships, or even see if there's money available, funds available to help you out with the cost of that. 3, in picking a study abroad, you want to consider the currency exchange for whatever country you're going to. So going from the United States to London, I knew that 1, I had to fly out of an international airport. Now, because I'm from Chicago, I'm pretty good with that, because O'Hare is an international airport. And then I know that the exchange rate at the time was 165 to 1. So for every $1.65 that I had, it would be equal to £1, which is their currency in Europe. It was equal to £1. So I needed to have, as a stipulation of my study abroad program, I needed to have at least, I think it was £300 per every month that I needed to be there, or whatever it was. I basically needed to have $1,200 in my account. Both 2 days before my flight. I had to print out bank statements 2 days before my flight and 2 weeks before my flight. To ensure that was just a part of what I would go through at customs. When I got through customs, which is the international agency, they kind of like checks you in, like, you know, why are you here, where are you going to be at, who you staying with, how long are you going to be here, where are your bank statements, where's your visa, you know, they ask you all of these questions. Now, thankfully, applying for a visa, I got it through Michigan State. So when I applied to the study abroad program, it was kind of like all of that paperwork just kind of already went through automatically, because I was a student there. I don't remember having to apply for like a visa. Usually you do have to do that, a traveler's visa. You have to set up your living arrangements, but as a part of my study abroad, we had room and board. So when we got there, I had a apartment that was already set up for me. I had a meal plan. I had everything that basically comes with the regular university costs, but they were different. They were adjusted to the university that we were utilizing while we were there. My study abroad experience was pretty great. I had a really good time while I was there. I was there for 6 weeks. And thankfully, I had a family member that was in London at the time. My aunt, she taught dance for the Olympics that year, and she ended up getting her visa extended because she had got work offer while she was there. So I had her as a resource. She took me around. She took me to like some cultural events, and they were really great. As a part of my study abroad experience, we had 4-day weekends that were built into our schedule so that we could travel. On Mondays and Wednesdays were trip days, so that means that we would go somewhere that was a part of our class course that would be used in our coursework, or it was a demonstration, or it was a follow-up with what we had read in class. The classes that I took while I was there, one was a Shakespeare class, one was like a black culture in London class, and I forget what the third one was, but it was I don't know. On the weekends that we were allowed to travel, one weekend I didn't go anywhere. We were supposed to go to Paris, but womp, it didn't happen because we didn't plan it correctly. The other weekend, we ended up going to Amsterdam. Now, Amsterdam was litty, okay? It was litty. I had never been to Amsterdam before. All I knew about Amsterdam was that they have a lot of pleasurably legal activities. And I also knew that they had a red light district. I didn't even know what that was. I just heard it in a song from Ludacris. So I was like, oh, that's where the red light district at. I want to see what Ludacris was talking about. Now, I went over there and I had the time of my life. I was there for 4 days. We went to different museums. I went to go see the Anne Frank Museum, which was kind of scary to be there. Like, it just felt weird. Like, I felt like I had people just breathing on me while I was there. Going to the Anne Frank house after reading the book, it put a lot of things in context. So definitely look up the historical aspects of it. I know that many study abroads in Europe, period, are great only because it's so many things that are close. It's so many ways to travel. You can travel by train, by plane, by ferry. We actually went to Amsterdam on a plane, so it took us only 45 minutes to get there. And then we ended up staying in a hostel. We also did our research on the hostels that we looked up. And we ended up staying at the Flying Pig. They have multiple locations, so if you're looking into a study abroad, definitely look into that. Kind of just see what it's like. I'll post videos at the end of this about my experience there, just some pictures, some videos from like when I rode the Eye. I went to go see Big Ben. I went to Parliament. I went on boat tours of London, and it was just a really, 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 really good time. I enjoyed myself there thoroughly. The food was so good. It was so good. Like, things I could have done differently. So, if I could change a few things about my study abroad, one, I would have saved a lot more money before I went. Two, I probably would have picked a study abroad that traveled. Some study abroads are stationary. So that basically means that for the whole 6 weeks, your study abroad is held in this one place. And there are study abroads that Michigan State offers that travel. I had friends that were in study abroad programs that did travel. So some went from like Ireland to Scotland to Wales. They went to London, and then they ended up in some other place. So I think that if I was to do study abroad again, I would definitely pick something that would allow me to travel to like multiple places, get more stamps on my passport. I would be able to see a lot more, experience a lot more. I got a thorough, visit in being in London, but it was very expensive because that exchange rate was just very high. As opposed to other places in Europe where the exchange rate is a little bit lower. When I went to Amsterdam, it was 1.30 to 1. So that was a little bit better. A lot more obtainable as far as like things that I could do, how I could spend my time, the type of things activities I could be a part of. But those would just be two things I would change. I would probably pick a study abroad that traveled, and I would also save a lot more money. customized key. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. Booyah!